everybody, it's Pam and Bill at Country Living Newbie Custom Decor in Spring Hill, Tennessee. Today we're going to do a video showing you how we finished this piece. It's an adorable little bench. We picked it up yesterday at an estate sale. And I get a lot of questions when people come into the store. Where do you get your stuff? Where do you find your pieces to refinish and paint? And the answer, lots of places. Anywhere we can. Side of the road, Craigslist, thrift stores, estate sales are amazing. You can go to estatesales.net and find one near you. Goodwill, just really anywhere. Marketplace on Facebook. It's wherever you can get something at the best price possible, because you're going to, put a lot of labor and supplies into it, and you want to try to obviously get out what you put into it. So this piece was just, and you can kind of see what it was underneath. I don't obviously have a before picture for you, but it was just solid wood, kind of a medium color wood. And we decided to paint it in Dixie Belle paint, of course, and we used Manatee Gray and Buttercream, which I've switched from drop cloth to Buttercream as my new favorite white to distress. Buttercream has just a hint of yellow in it. It's very, very subtle, whereas drop cloth leans a little bit more towards the gray side. I had actually originally painted the bottom in drop cloth and then decided it was a little too gray to go with the gray I had already painted, so I switched over to the Buttercream. So those are the two colors, Manatee Gray and Buttercream. I used very little paint on this. I don't paint out of the jar. I take a paper plate and I squirt my paint on that, and I paint from the paper plate. That way my brush is not going from my furniture back to the jar, back to the furniture, with the possibility of introducing bacteria into the paint. Dixie Belle paint is water-based. It's preservative-free, so you want to keep it as clean as possible. So those are the colors. I also get asked a lot, what brush do you use? Brushes, there's a ton of them out there. Dixie Belle makes great brushes. Paint Pixie makes great brushes. Chalk Pro makes great brushes. So on this piece, I actually used a combination of a little bit of everything. So Dixie Belle's new synthetic brushes are amazing. They do not lose any bristles. They hold a ton of paint. They leave minimal brush strokes, and they're just incredible. I love them. So for this piece, I used the flat medium for most of it, and then the flat small for some of the edges, and I think this piece down here. And then for the stencil, I used Dixie Belle's large floral band stencil, and I basically put it on there. I laid it down flat, and then I take a chip brush and I barely put any paint on the end. I dip it in the paint and I wipe it off on a paper towel, and I just dab. So with stencils that are not adhesive, you have to be super careful that you don't use too much paint and start get bleeding, around the stencil. So keep the brush as dry as absolutely possible. So those are the tools that we used. Keep aside. So we painted the gray, we painted the white, we did the stencil, and then I took a sanding pad, which we also provide at our shop. And just so you know, we are a premier retailer for Dixie Belle paint at Country Living Newbie. That means we carry all products all the time. The only time we may not have something is maybe I have a paint class and we run out of a lot of things after that class because people are purchasing, or if Dixie Belle has a back order on something, it may be a delay before I get something. So right now we happen to be out of clear wax, which is not a good thing for me or our customers. So hang in there, and I'm watching every day. As soon as I can order some, I will be sure to stock up. So another thing, let me just mention real quick, with Dixie Belle, this product line is so extensive. You will have everything you need from start to finish your project. If you need gray wax, black wax, brown wax, white wax, we have it all. Dixie Belle has the most colors of wax, the most colors of paint. We have 64 colors. We carry them in an 8 ounce, a 16 ounce, And I carry the top colors also in the big 32 ounce. If you know you're gonna be needing a big one, let me know and I'll go ahead and order that for you. Because I think I carry about 15 colors in that. So all these colors, and then all these glazes, waxes, stains, clear coats, polys, Dixie dirt, Dixie mud, patina, crackle, sea spray, slick stick, boss. You will not find another type of mineral chalk paint that has this many products, and also problem solvers. If you have a piece that is formica, laminate, glass, ceramic, you can chalk paint over that with putting some slick stick on it first. This will make that chalk paint adhere. It will not come off. Boss is a problem solver. It'll stop bleeding. The smell of tobacco, smoke when you have a piece that you've gotten, who knows, at Goodwill or an estate sale and it smells like smoke. Boss will eliminate that. We have gilding waxes. I can just go on and on. So I highly recommend, if you're doing a project, come into our shop, take a look at what we have, and I definitely recommend using the same product from start to finish. So if you're starting with a different type of chalk paint or mineral paint, our products usually work with that, but we can't always guarantee results when you mix products. So I recommend start with our paint, you can put our wax on top of it. It's all water-based. If you use Annie Sloan wax, for example, is oil-based. You cannot paint over that. You have to strip that wax. With Dixie Belle, the wax is super creamy, totally water-based, and you can paint right over it if you don't like the way something turned out. You cannot do that with oil-based waxes.
Plus, how many days are you here at the shop?
6 days. So every day but Monday, I'm here. If you need advice on your project, if you don't know what color do I use, what wax do I use, do I put wax and then can I poly it? Do I poly it? Do I put wax? I get questions all the time, people coming in and just asking about process. The first thing I always ask is, what is your project? How's that piece going to be used? And how are you preparing it? And a lot of times I washed it with soap and water or vinegar solution. So right there, we're going to start talking about the way to clean a piece. And I know we're taking a huge tangent from this, but I feel this is so important. We have so many people refinishing furniture, and I get pictures and stuff on our Facebook page all the time of finished projects. They look amazing, and I think a lot of that has to do with the meticulous coaching advice that we're providing to our customers. This product is easy to use, and we want you to have an amazing experience with it, but there are a couple things that you really, really need to make sure you're doing. Number one, you have to clean with White Lightning Cleaner. It has to be a TSP-based solution, which is what this is. You can also use TSP if you have it in your home, but Dixie Belle makes one in White Lightning. It degreases, deglosses, and prepares the paint, which is very porous, to adhere to your surface. So if you have a layer of dirt, grease, or grime, paint's not going to stick to that. When you paint on it, it's going to come off. So you have to clean. With chalk paint, you rarely have to sand. There'll be some times when we'll recommend a little bit of sanding, but you always, always have to clean, and you will have a fantastic experience with Dixie Belle paint. So I think we talked about some of the prep stuff, mostly how we got to this point. You can see we did some heavy distressing on this. Buttercream over a dark wood looks absolutely incredible distressed. I'm in love. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Hey, let's plug our classes.
Oh, yep, we have a class coming up a week from tomorrow, and it's I'm running. It's a wooden tray class, and here's just a couple examples. It may not be these stencils, but it'll be these 15.5-inch round trays. You can put handles on them, or we'll put the Lazy Susan bottom on it for you. You have access to all our paints and all our stains, as always, when you come in for our classes. We'll let you try products. If you want to throw some gilded wax on there, just say the word, we'll do it. We want you to have all open access to the products so you can try them. And then the class after that,
I'll come to you.
is our pumpkin patch. We've actually sold several of the pumpkins just plain. So we do have them where you can purchase just the plain wooden pumpkins if you can't make the class and you want to paint them on your own. They're available for purchase, but we'll have a variety of stencils available. These are just happen to be ones that I put on there, but you can stain it, you can paint it, stencil it, you can blend colors. Again, you have access to everything in our shop. And you can register for both of those on our Facebook page under events and then get tickets. Okay. So the actual reason we wanted to do this video was to, number one, talk a little bit about the Dixie Belle products, how it's a complete line from start to finish, how we are here every day. We are experts with this paint. I guarantee 99% of the time when you come into the store, you're gonna see something on this table that I'm painting. If you pick a color, I like gravel road, I'll say, come here, there's a gravel road table out there. I like paint blue, oh look, I have one on the table. So you'll get to see what it looks like, and we also have the spoons that show you the color, because the color cards are great, but until you really see it on, on a piece of wood, it's hard to kind of really get that true color. Dixie Belle is also one of the most affordable paints. Besides having more colors than anybody, it has excellent coverage, and these little 8-ounce jars are less than $10 and they cover 38 square feet on average. So it's just an amazing product, so I can't say enough about it. Okay, so what we're gonna do on this video is, now that this is all painted, we're gonna wax it. I'm gonna use Dixie Belle's Best Dang Wax in clear. When you open the clear wax, it looks white, and pardon this one, I got some water in there, so apologize. It looks white, but it's gonna go on clear. And then we're gonna use Best Dang Wax in brown to hit some of the corners. We wanna make this piece look old and aged, even though we already distressed it. Wax is a nice sealant. So you get a nice silky finish, and it also seals your piece. I'm using a wax brush. I highly recommend, if you're gonna be doing furniture, more than just kind of a one and done type deal, that you get a wax brush. I can do this with a cloth, but this brush will make me so much faster. It's much more even coverage, and you use very minimal product. So you can already see, I actually have too much on there. That's too much. So we're gonna wipe it off. You should really barely even see what you have on your brush. So I think we'll start, what do you think, back here? I don't know, I don't wanna be in the way. So with the brush, you really just wanna wipe it on, go in circles, kind of go straight, and you're gonna see immediately how it kind of richens the color. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but the difference, and even over there, I already started doing one corner, but it brings out the color in the paint. And it also darkens the wood a little bit. And you can see with just this brush how far I'm getting and how little product I had on there. It's still going. Wax is gonna look streaky. You're not gonna get those kind of smears out, and that's normal. So just kind of keep going. I just dabbed a little bit more. That's probably too much, but we'll keep going. And guys, the store's open right now, but it's pouring out. So if someone comes in, we may have to cut it short. So you can see, and I'm going slower than I normally would just because we're doing a video. But you can see how fast I'm moving with this brush. The brush does not need to be cleaned. For clear wax, usually you're gonna start with the base of clear wax, although with Dixie Belle wax, you do not need to do clear underneath colored. The only reason to do that is if you wanna seal your whole piece with clear and then just do some accents with the colored wax, or you wanna be able to remove the wax a little bit easier, the dark. But you do not need to do clear under dark. Some mineral chalk paint lines only have a dark wax and the clear. So we have gray, black, brown, white, and clear. We have 5 different color waxes in 2 different sizes. And I promise, I'll ask you a lot of questions about your project when you come in. I'm not going to sell you a 10-ounce jar of brown wax if you're just doing the corners of something small, and you don't want to have a lot left over. So we'll talk through and make sure you get what you need, and if you want extra, that's great too. You can see I'm being pretty random here. And I just want to do this top, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the brown. We also do a bring your own piece of furniture class. We just had 2 of those back to back. We had a waiting list for the first one, so we added a second one. They are a very popular class because you get to bring in something from home, and they're very instructional. So Bill and I are here. We help you through your entire project. It's only a 2-hour class, so there's times where you might need to do the rest of the ceiling or finishing at home, but we'll get you through the essential part, and you'll feel confident to be able to go home and finish it if you didn't finish it in class.
And you get to keep the paint you started with.
Yeah, so you get a jar of paint in the class. It's an 8-ounce jar. I guarantee on the size piece that you bring in for the class, you will not use that whole jar. So right there is a $10 value. Okay, so it's always good to kind of walk around and look at your project from different angles, because I can see there's some spots that I missed. And again, I'm not being super meticulous. And the idea is not to rub the wax off. It's really to push it in, right? So I'm kind of pushing. You can tell I'm like out of breath doing this. But you want to push it in, and then you can buff it out later. Wax takes a little longer to dry, sometimes up to a couple days, depending on what your humidity is like and where you're doing it. So now that I have all the clear wax on, I'm going to do some highlighting with a brown wax. What I tell people for colored wax, unless you're going over the whole piece, which you still can use this, I take the cheapest chip brush I can find, Harbor Freight. They come in a box. You use it a couple times and you toss it. I cut it down, and I can probably even cut this one shorter to where it's real stiff. And this almost lets you draw with the brush. With colored wax, as with all Dixie Belle products, minimal product on your brush. And when you have a wax brush like this, you don't need to wax it. I've used this probably 10 times. You just keep on using it. It stays soft. Again, this is water-based, not oil-based, so these stay nice and soft. If it feels a little hard, you can just give it a rub and you're good to go. All right. So I'm just taking a semi-clean shirt. I am barely touching this wax. And I'm going to go in these corners. Now, because I put clear wax on, this doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Do not be afraid. Again, these products are all water-based, meant to be layered. If you hate it, you don't like the way it looks, paint over it. So now I'm just going to wipe, because you don't want like a clean line. That's not how things age. Now, if it looks too dark to you, no fear. We're going to take a little bit of clear wax. So I don't like Here too much, looks a little dark. I'm just dabbing with clear wax and I'm taking it off. So you can not only use clear wax under your dark, if you need to take some off after, like right here, don't like it, you can also take it off after your dark. Corners are sometimes a little rough. Sorry guys.
Go.
Okay, we're back. Sorry guys, duty called. Okay, so now let's turn. We're gonna go into this corner. And up. There's absolutely nothing to be afraid of using clear wax. Every mistake can be corrected, I promise. I make them all the time. Mistakes often turn into some of the the best things you've ever done, especially when it comes to patina. You know, sometimes you just gotta walk away and you come back the next day and it's like the best thing you ever made. Okay. So you guys kind of get the picture. By the way, I don't know if I told you or not, but I sanded this piece. Oh, I did tell you, with the sanding sponge. It's 150 sanding sponge. There is no finish on this. By the way, Dixie Belle paint does not need to be sealed. It does not need to be sealed. You can seal it with wax or clear coat or poly, gator hide. The purpose of sealing it is to make it easier to clean and to protect it. So if it's something that's going to get heavy use, like a table, a coffee table, kitchen cabinets, we're going to talk you through some sealers with that. But if it's going to be hanging on your wall, you don't need to seal it. After 30 days, Dixie Belle paint is fully cured. So in about 20 minutes, it's dry. Cured means that the paint has had a full amount of time to adhere to the surface and it won't come off with normal use. So if I paint something and 2 days later, I take my fingernail and I scrape it, my paint's gonna come off. That's normal. The paint has not had time to fully cure and adhere to your piece. Now, rubbing it should not come off. If your paint comes off while you're rubbing it, it most likely means you didn't clean the piece properly or you didn't rinse your TSP off. I've learned both of those the hard way when I started doing this, which, you know, wasn't too long ago. But those are two things that I learned very quickly. Make sure you rinse off your TSP and, you know, wait for your paint to fully cure. After 30 days, you can put this outside with no sealer. Now, dust is going to adhere to chalk paint. Again, it's chalky, it's porous, so dust is going to want to settle on it. So that's another reason why people will seal or top coat their piece. And honestly, I mean, wax just gives it a nice feel. So wax is just super silky and just makes it look really pretty. And it really brings out the color. So it will dark, even with clear wax, it will, I don't want to say darken, it will enrich whatever color that you have on there. So we'll keep going, not on the video because I think you guys kind of saw how we did the wax. Do not be afraid to use color, to use wax, to make mistakes. We are here to talk you through every project. If you don't want us, you know, helping you through it, we'll give you some advice. We'll give you a how-to book, and you go DIY it. And I'm sure you're going to do great. If you want us there every step of the way, we'll do that too. In fact, the reason we had to hang up was because a customer had called to ask some questions about some paint she was using. So, you know, please use us. We are here all the time. We are experts in this. If I'm not here, Bill's here, and I think by osmosis, he's learned quite a lot about the paint and the paint products, and I'm just a phone call away as well. So please come see us. Let us help you with your projects. Refinishing furniture is so much fun. And you don't even have to just do furniture with Dixie Belle. I mean, it does anything. It does countertops. It does bathroom floors and tile. Someone did a diving board. I mean, it'll do anything. So, you know, pick a project and come on in and let us help you. If you have any questions, you can message us on Facebook. You can call us. You can come see us. We're here to help, and we hope we get to meet everybody. Thanks so much.